considering the level to which many of our legislators, legislative houses, whether at the National Assembly or states, have degenerated, we find that they are more or less treating this aspect of the Constitution with levity, if not mockery. That even when a member who was elected on the platform of one political party A decamps to the ruling party, they simply turn a blind eye. If at all, they even celebrate it, that somebody is flouting the Constitution, and the presiding officers are very happy to welcome the decampee to their fold and proudly celebrate the fact that they have increased in number. Listening to the presentation by the National Publicity Secretary, he has said that we propose to bring out an ethical revolution in our country. We expect a transformation process which will involve everybody. And that is the message we are propagating as we go into these campaigns and the general elections. Nigerians who feel disenchanted with the degeneration that we are experiencing in all aspects of government is reversed. And the role of Nigerians, particularly addressing the question by the lady, the role that Nigerians can play is to ensure that you elect credible people, not jokers, not comedians, into the legislatures are full of comedians now. I don't want to mention names. But you know that some that completely disregard or have no regard to the high position that they occupy, and they joke. They see the seat they occupy as just a joke. So we need serious-minded people to ensure that these provisions of the Constitution are respected and not treated with levity or as a joke. The way they can do that is electing members of giving their votes to ADC legislators, ADC executives, and so forth and so on, so that we can have the ability to amend the Constitution when necessary, and to implement the Constitution as both the spirit and the letter of the Constitution must be respected. You need people with the right ethical credentials, the right kind of conduct to know that these things must not be treated with levity and they must be respected. That is why we are launching this Code of Ethics. It is a standard, and we expect that all elected officers of ADC live up to this ethical code. If it is a provision of the Constitution as it is now, they must ensure that it is respected. The spirit and letter of the Constitution is respected. Where fresh legislation is demanded, and listening to the National Publicity Secretary, he did mention that some of what has been presented will become legislation. They cannot be enforced. I concede that point, that you cannot go to court to enforce this because it's an ethical standard. It is not a law. So you need to transform this code of ethics into legislation which will be enforceable. I hope that that has answered the question. So some is getting the right kind of people to do justice to the laws and the Constitution as they are now, and then electing people into positions to help the process of introducing stricter or stronger legislation that will ensure that Nigerians live up to the high level of ethical standard and conduct that we all desire. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Prof. Yes.
Just one question that was asked is like the earlier one about enforceability. How do we ensure that this is what is contained in this document is really enforced? I think that question was answered clearly by the National Legal Advisor and Honorable Chidi Igwawa, who says that the constitutional provision as it is gives room for recall, and that if you voluntarily signed and deposed to an affidavit that you should be held accountable for everything here in this document, then it becomes the basis for taking actions against you. And like we said, all actions that can be taken against, some of them will be legal, some of them are constitutional, which may be difficult for us, like you have pointed out, but there is also political sanction that can be taken against you, which is what we are emphasizing. And we are hoping that this becomes the basis for establishing the ADC government. Because an ADC government will, like we have repeatedly maintained, will not only limit this to internal control process alone, it will also be escalated into the level of a legislation where it becomes enforceable as we progress. But the most important point that I seek to make is that we are laying a foundation, a solid foundation for a different kind of politics to be played in this country. A politics that is undergirded by accountability and responsibility. Before now, you can say, oh, I'm doing this because that's the way it is done. That's the way we have always done it. There are people in this country, younger people in this country, who don't even know, because all that they have seen. Some of my kids will tell me, when I tell them some things that have happened in this country, they will tell me, that's a different country. We don't know this Nigeria that you are talking about. So we are saying that as ADC, we are setting a new standard, and not just a new standard, the proper standard for politics and politicking in this country. We want to be the party that produces the next generation of political parties and politicians who understand that our minimum standards of behavior and conduct that is expected of you if you occupy a public office in Nigeria. It's a journey, it's not an event, but it's a journey that will require eternal vigilance, that will require discipline, that will require strength from the political party itself. Because when you have, we have tried to live by our own standards. If you listen to the national chairman of our party, His Excellency David Mark, he has always maintained that the ADC will not allow anybody elected on his platform to decide what to do with power. We will not leave it to the discretion of anybody to decide what to do with power. We want to be the political party that is able to enforce his will on anybody elected on his platform, no matter how highly placed. Now, on the question of escalating it or spreading it down to the lower level, this is just the start. We have broken the ground today, and I can assure you that anybody elected on the platform of ADC in the next election, from the highest level to the lowest level, will sign to the same document and will depose to the same oath that is contained in this document. Like we are saying, we want to build a political party whose politicians elected on our platform will say clearly and unequivocally that I cannot do this because I am ADC, or I must do this because I am ADC. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. All right.
The fact that if there is something in the code of conduct or in the party constitution and is at variance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that it may be unenforceable. I just want to correct that impression that that is not a correct view to take, because the Constitution of Nigeria recognizes, in fact, requires that every political party, I think it's section 231 of the Constitution, 223 of the Constitution must have, of the party constitution must be registered and must fulfill certain conditions, certain requirements is there. And the courts also respect the constitution of political parties, which is why, for instance, if you feel aggrieved and you rush to court without exhausting the internal dispute resolution mechanisms in the party constitution, the courts will say the case is incompetent. They will dismiss it because you have not followed what you have signed as a member of the political party to do. That when you have a dispute, you must first exhaust the internal party mechanisms. and so many other things in the constitution of the party. If you violate them, then you cannot hide under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria expects that you will abide by the constitution of the party that you freely joined. My own finally here is that today's event is very significant. Let us not underestimate the significance of what we have here witnessed today. I personally believe that, and I know that many other Nigerians believe, that we have to rescue our country, Nigeria. Nigeria is going down. Moral standards are being destroyed. There has to be an ethical revolution. The foundation has to be rebuilt. That is why in ADC we say we want to rescue Nigeria, because we cannot continue like this. Nigeria will be doomed if we continue on this trajectory. We need to rebuild our country on a sound ethical foundation. Let me say that I am an expert, International Standards Organization expert. I have been doing a lot of work for the International Standards Organization. And you know we are in the era of globalization. There is international standardization everywhere. Even in the realms of governance, there is standardization. And within that governance system, there is what is called tone at the top. Some of what is contained here are contained in the code, the standard on good governance, whether it is governance in the public sector or governance in the private sector, whether it is governance of a company or governance of a country or of a state. The principles here are embedded in the International Standard on Good Governance, which Nigeria, as a member of the international community and as a member of ISO, is obliged to comply with. One of the principles is tone at the top. The top must set a good tone for governance and accountability. So, tone at the top may be tone as a president, tone at the top as a governor, tone at the top as an elected member of the party. You must imbibe these ethics, these codes, and it is only through the compliance and conformity with these principles that we can hope to redeem our nation, Nigeria. So what we have witnessed today is the beginning of that journey of redeeming our country and reclaiming our country back and rescuing it from the trajectory, the negative trajectory that seems to be going on before our eyes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Oh.
I would have loved for this book to be, this event to come on way before primaries. Yeah. Because Oga said something about if you're voting for somebody within the APC, we want, basically it's about standards. And there are a lot of people that get elected just because maybe sometimes they're lucky to be there and they end up being clowns. You know, but I think this book will change a lot of things. It's a mindset change because actually this is what has, you know, dragged me into this party. It's about standards, it's about succession, and also patriotism, because it shows what Nigeria, what we should expect in terms of standards from our leaders and also from ourselves as well. Because if we don't have standards, which now this is what we're experiencing, we end up with a bad situation that we're, you know, in. So thank you, sir, for this book. And as a party, we need to hug this book tightly, and charity begins at home, so it has to start from us as well. Thank you very much.
This is media event, as you said. I want to urge my colleague in the media. What is the effect? You know, okay. Okay, I see you're not there, so I was looking for you deciding. That's why I did. Please, I know that we have reached a point in this country where we treat everything with cynicism. But what the media want is what we want as a political party. We want a better country. And we are saying that this is the foundation of moving the politics in a different direction. Please report this, and all of us, feel free, write about it, tweet about it, comment about it. Because at the end of the day, it takes only a critical mass of the population to bring about the most radical change in the country. And the business of politics is too serious to be left to politicians alone. So it's not just us, but we are playing our part as a political party. So every constituency will also have to play their part, including voters have to play their part. So what kind of country do we want? And I thank Dr. Gary for committing to start serializing the comment about this as from tomorrow. Thank you very much. So all of you, thank you very much once again, and I wish you a certain at your respect. Thank you very much.
All right, so